Hi everyone, this is Marty McDermott from Franchise Interviews, and welcome to another edition of Great Quotes in Franchising, where each podcast you get to hear a great quote in franchising. You know, we've been hosting franchise interviews many years now. We've had some incredible guests on the show. Today you're going to get to hear from Todd Leff, and Todd is the CEO and president of a franchise called Hand and Stone, and Todd has many years experience, and we always like to ask the veterans in franchising, what is your advice to our listeners as far as their quest to buy a franchise? And I thought Todd's response was quite brilliant. He narrowed it down to 3 questions you should ask, and we're going to hear that right now.
Spending significant time out there, really marketing the business, and that's where they can add value, to growing the business.
Yeah, that makes sense. So you've been doing this such a long time. The questions I was excited to ask you is what advice would you give to our listeners on buying a franchise, Todd?
Yeah, it's a great question, and I will give you my 3 questions that I tell every new prospect. These are the 3 questions you should answer in looking at any franchise. One is, do you believe in the long-term growth of the industry? Because it's very hard in an industry that's flat or declining to claw away market share from other established competitors. So me personally, I was looking for an industry that had long-term growth potential. Number 2, do you believe in the underlying business model of that franchise? Because you can have a great industry and have a business model that doesn't work. So you have to get into the building a pro forma, looking at what the potential revenue is and what that would produce. And then the third question I tell people to ask is, can you see yourself fitting culturally with the organization, whether that's the management team that you'll be working with at the franchise, the people you'd be working with in the business, and the other franchisees in the system. Do you see yourself being able to get along and work with those groups and have confidence that these people can lead a brand forward? So I think if you can answer all 3 of those questions yes, then you really have something that you ought to investigate carefully and proceed with.
Wow, that's well said. We have what's called the Great Quotes in Franchising. I think we're going to have to put that in there. I think that's fantastic advice.